Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Casey, where we go over what's happening in the market, what the market conditions are, what the strategies are. There's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake in the real estate market. So we want to make sure everybody's as educated as they can. I leave for 4 days. I'm sitting in Florida. I read a newspaper, said prices in Northern Virginia around Washington, D.C. area have fallen, like 18% in the past month. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And inventory is skyrocketing. Everybody's losing their job. The world is coming to an end around here. So I'm a numbers person, and I track markets for a living. That's just what we do. So, again, the first time we can see year-to-date statistics is at the end of February. We have 2 months to take a look at the stats. Then we can get a good grip on where are we in at least the Northern Virginia market. So we follow basically 4 different counties, right? Fairfax County, Arlington County, Loudoun County, Prince William County. These are the counties most affected in Virginia by what's going on downtown. The job cuts and people having to go back into work and everybody yelling and screaming. This is the reality, right? So the first thing we look at is everybody dumping their houses on the market. So what's happened is, and I'm going to show you in a minute, we had inventory here, and then it fell to here for a couple of years, and now it's coming back. Not that dramatically, but this is showing that and for those of you that are listening to this on a podcast, Arlington County is only up 19% over last year statistics, but they're dead flat on their 5-year average. So is Arlington spiking? No, not at all. In fact, they're coming back to normal finally, which is good because now you have more properties on the market for buyers to buy. Fairfax County is up 26% over a miserable last year. Again, they're down 7% over the 5-year average. You can see now we go out to Loudoun County and Prince William County. The people that moved out there when they could work from home, and now what are you going to do? Are you going to move back? Are you going to put your house on the market? This is kind of what we have our finger on the pulse. Are a lot of people going to be putting their homes on the market in Loudoun County and Prince William County? As far as the first 2 months of this year are concerned, the answer is not really. I mean, 36% over last year is about normal. They're 4% under their average. So is there any run on the bank going in Loudoun County or Prince William County? Or is there tons of inventory going out? The answer is really no, it's not. So no matter what you read in all these national newspapers, the inventory is not a massive inventory because when you put it in perspective, on the left is the last 24 days. And on the right is the year-to-date statistics. So Fairfax County, over the last, let's call it a month, right? You can see that looks like a spike. It looks like a spike compared to 2024, but look at where it is compared to 22, 21, 20. I mean, it's really just getting back to normal, right? If you look at the 5-year average on the right, you'll see it's below the 5-year average. So we're really not up to where we should be, and I would expect, because you see those 2 years, 2023 and 24, see how that lack of inventory? Well, that's what's called pent-up inventory. It's coming. It's coming just because they haven't been on the market for, there's death, divorce, and downsizing were the major drivers in 23 and 24. But now all those people that could have sold or wanted to sell and didn't, now they have an opportunity and they're going to start coming on the market. So I expect the numbers to increase quite a bit, but that's just natural. That's not showing an effect of panicking because government contracts are being canceled, people are being fired, people are being laid off, people are retiring. We are not seeing that much of an effect. You got to remember, the government workforce only makes up 7.5% of what's happening in the government is Northern Virginia employees, right? So only, you see that number, only 7.5% of that is really live in Virginia. And our employment in Northern Virginia is basically full employment. We don't have an unemployment rate. It's 3%, but that's as low as you can get, right? So will they find other jobs? Absolutely. Will some people retire and move away? Absolutely. That's just normal, standard stuff. We are seeing nothing in Arlington County. Look down at Arlington County. the first 30 days or the last 30 days, it's not that dramatic over where it's been on years gone by. And when you look at the year to date on the far right, that's pretty normal. So is there a run on the bank? Not yet. Are we keeping our finger on the pulse? Yes. Am I going to talk about this every week on Coffee with Casey? Yes. Because we need to know. You know, when you're in the Marines, they tell you you'll never hear the bullet. When it hits you, you'll never hear it. So, you know, I'm in the tower looking for icebergs at all time. When you've been at this for 40 years, you hit a few icebergs. And it's like, well, I never saw that coming. We're watching this time. So if that inventory really does continue to spike or it gets out of control, then we're going to keep an eye on it. Here's Loudoun County. Look where Loudoun County is. Over the last 30 days, it's absolutely average to where it's been over those years, 2019 to 2022, the normal years. If you look down at Prince William County, down below, it's the same thing, right? Now, if you see year-to-date, you'll actually see in Loudoun County on the right-hand side, Loudoun County's year-to-date inventory is behind where it normally is. So you see, you know, has it spiked against 2024? Yes, but that's only because 2024 stunk, and so did 23. But now we're getting back to some normalcy, and we're starting to get a little more inventory come up. So no real reason to panic. Now, the second thing I look at, there's three things I look at. The first is inventory growing, because a higher inventory is going to make softer prices. So we got to keep an eye on the inventory. Then I look at how much of that inventory is being absorbed by the buyers. In other words, if the buyer pool is here and we have a spike, we still got more buyers than sellers. So I watch every open house. I see how many people are coming through. I see how many contracts we get on these houses. We got 20 contracts on a house. Only one can buy it. We had 20 contracts on a house. Come on. We had 8 contracts on another house. We had a house go from $1.3 million to $1.45 million. We had a townhouse go from, and a lot of times people accuse me of saying, oh, you only deal with the higher price stuff. We had a $700,000 townhouse sell for $815,000. That's the one that had 20 buyers, had 120 showings. So the buyer pool is still outpacing the properties that are coming on the market. No problem. Seller's market. So I look at how many homes are under contract, and that tells me, are we in a buyer's market, a neutral market, or a seller's market? So if there's 10 homes on the market and only 2 are under contract, it's a buyer's market. You got 8 to choose from. But if 8 are under contract, it's 80% are under contract. You got 2 to choose from. Those are overpriced and stink, and nobody wants it, and it has a bad yard, and it backs to a road, and nobody wants it anyways. Realtors are notorious for overpricing houses, for underpreparing houses, for not doing their homework. So I would say that in my book, 60% of the homes under contract, those are the ones that should be under contract. The other 4 overpriced, underprepared, stink anyways, right? They'll just have to withdraw and sell. In fact, amazingly enough, the withdrawal rate in Fairfax County normally is 40%. So you see, some of them just aren't priced and aren't prepared, and they just withdraw. So, you know, I look at this as full employment. If I put a house on the market and it's in good shape, it's going to sell, and it's going to sell right now. Right now. It's going to have multiple contracts. It's going to get bid up. It's going to go over its appraised value. We can't have any appraisal contingencies because they'll never appraise a house for what we're going to sell it for. It's just that simple, okay? So in this case, right now in Fairfax County, and this is the total, okay? Arlington County, 40% of the homes are under contract. Now, that tells me that, you know, they're in an actual, just starting a buyer's market. So it's a buyer's market in Arlington, right? 6 out of 10 homes are not under contract. So you do have a little bit of a buyer's market in Arlington. Now, as some people go out, there's also going to be people coming in. So we do have new people that will be coming into the area, and Arlington is a great buy right now. So Fairfax and Loudoun County are both, when you took a look at everybody, townhouses, condominiums, everything, they're up almost 60%. Well, that's almost a seller's market. So we have a seller's market in Fairfax County, seller's market in Loudoun County. Prince William County is kind of a neutral market. And a neutral market means anything between 4 and 6, anything between 40% and 60%, kind of a neutral market. You know, got to be a little more careful if you're in a neutral market. You can't get aggressive like you would in a seller's market. You're neutral. If you're in a buyer's market, you got to be careful. You can't get too aggressive in a buyer's market, right? There's a lot of competition out there. So what we do is we're analyzing, let's say 5 homes are under contract. This is where a professional realtor comes in. You have 5 homes under contract and 5 homes that are active. Are they priced right? Are they in good condition? Or are they just overpriced? In other words, I analyze each house and our system says this house is listed for $1.4 million. It really should be $1.22. Okay, you're just overpriced. So I can discount that. And then you could discount this one. But if they're all at where I think they should be and they're not going under contract, then we have a problem. If I look at the homes that are pending, and let's say I think, that home should go under contract for 1.3, and it was put on at 1.2. That thing sold, it's going down, right? So I'm a little nervous when I see the pending contract selling for less than I think they should sell for. So all of these things go into determining what this pricing is, which makes me insane. And I'm going to talk in a minute about the 5 things that we bring to us with every listing appointment from the company, how the company, the tools we have at the company actually show up at the listing appointment. But Compass has a listing tool, and one of their tools is their pricing model, pricing engine. So I just talked about all the things that go into mind of where I'm going to put a price. They hit a button, they put an address in, and it gives us a report, 26-page report. One of the sellers was nice enough to share the report with me over the range of the prices, which is a $100,000 range. And I'm like, it's not hand grenades, man. You can't just get close. You got to know what the price has got to be. So I looked at the 26-page report that the Compass agent provided the seller. 10 of the 11 houses in the assessment, in the CMA, were not qualified comps. Let me ask you, you're a professional realtor. We price these things for a living. Can you use in February of 2025, can you use something that sold in March of last year? That was a different world. That was a whole different world. I mean, 1 week is old to me. I mean, I need my information fresh. March. So it was a 1,500 square foot house. One of the comps was 3,400 square feet. Can you use a 3,400 square foot comp to figure out what a 1,500 square foot house is going to sell for? No. So I went down and I eliminated the ones that were either too old, too new, too far away. I'm on one side of Vienna. You guys are over there. You're 4 miles away. That's not the same market as this. I was in shock. I wanted to throw up. I, as a professional, I wanted to throw up at the absolute absurdity of the pricing engines and the 26-page reports. So much so that I tell sellers, if you see a 26-page report, tell him to put on his hat and get the hell out. Oh, you think it's between $1,050,000 and $1,150,000? Well, what is it? Is it $1,050,000 or is it $1,150,000? And by the way, how can you justify a comp that was done in March or at $3,500? Just ask them, how did you assess this? If you want to talk 30 minutes, I'll talk 30 minutes about just pricing if that's what you want to do. As a professional realtor, some of the tools that a company gives you may not be a good tool. It may be a very bad tool, right? So we need to be thoughtful about what tools we have. Let's get back to the market conditions. The homes under contract is the second thing I look at, right? So if I'm at 60% or 50% or whatever, I need to know that before I go out on the market with my property. Where am I? Am I in a seller's market, buyer's market, neutral market? Are they overpriced, underpriced? What are the comps? What does everything say? Then we pick a price. We test it for 7 days. Even with all that stuff, we put on for 7 days. We do a predictive analysis. How many people are coming and showing time to see it? 2? You're overpriced. You've seen our act, right? You're overpriced. You got to move it down, right? We tried 1.35, and we had one showing. One showing. We moved it to 1.299, and we had multiple people, tons of people come in, a lot of showings. We got 145. So here's my bottom line. It is impossible to underprice a house. Impossible to underprice a house. You must know what number that buyers are willing to walk in the door. You need to get to that number, then you need to let them bid it. Now, I'll give you another thing about this pricing deal, right? Right now, we took on a big builder. We had 11 listings come on, and we fight like hell over where these homes should be listed and what the prices are. Long story short, builders are getting squeezed and need to get more money out of their houses to turn a profit. You know how this is going, right? I mean, costs more to build. The lot prices are going up. There's a lot of inventory in new homes, so their prices aren't going up. So their margins are so tight that if you say you're $100,000 overpriced, you've just taken away all my profit, right? The only problem is it costs $15,000 a month to carry the house. If you don't like losing 100, how do you like losing 115 or 130 or 150 or 200? If you don't like the price, $2.1 million, how are you going to like $1.9 million when it gets to that point? The bottom line is, and this is a big deal, there's so much money at stake that you must come up with the right number. You must know the stats of where you are at. And in this market, we need to have accurate information. We can't look at it and go, price went down 130 or whatever, $130,000, or inventory is spiking through the roof. Everybody's leaving. We can't have that bullshit. We have to have really accurate data to price it and to determine. And it is a struggle to get that price, okay? So let's say we're within, I'll give you a perfect example. I say 225, they say 235. Contract comes in at 225. I'm going to defend 235 like the sky is falling. I will defend that price. Because the seller and I, you have to understand, a seller is speaking Greek. A buyer is speaking French. We speak both. A buyer is what they want or need. That's the way they come up with their pricing. I want this or I need this. That's Greek. A buyer is saying, well, I'm looking at 8 properties and this isn't competitive with these 8 properties. That's French. We speak both. So we must communicate. First of all, be empathetic to the seller and tell him we understand Greek. We understand where you're coming from and why you're thinking this. But our concern is the buyers are speaking French. And we need to understand how they do it. So I'm here to let you know how they're doing it and how they analyze it. And somehow we got to get in the middle. We got to be able to speak both languages. But just understand, if you don't have empathy, you walk in and go, hey, the price is $1.3 million. They want 1.4. You need to understand, why do you want it? How do you need it? Where did you arrive at that? And don't just steamroll and say, no, it's worth 1.3. I'm just telling you. I'm the professional. I can tell you what it is. No. You got to start talking Greek. You got to understand, why is it? And once we had an understanding from the builders of why they have to have a certain number, of why they have a certain number, and understood we need to learn how to speak. I mean, shit, they're not even Greek. They're speaking some Arabic language. I don't even know what it is. So we had to learn it. But you got to understand why they want what they want, why they need what they need, and then interpret that to French, because they're the ones writing the checks. And the longer it takes us to get to them, the less money we're going to make. Trust me. I just ran into a builder. We took over a withdrawn listing. He probably lost $300,000 because he overpriced a house. And he goes, "Oh, I'm not making any money." I know you were at 2.8 million when you're only worth 2.5, and you stayed there too long, and now we're lucky to get 2.45. Sign the damn contract, But I'm losing. No, never had it. Never had it. So, but here's the problem. Sometimes the sellers or builders don't think you're listening, and you have to understand why we think what we think. Well, Jerry's house sold for X amount of dollars. Got it. Can you give me that address? Let's take a look. Well, he's assessed for $150,000 higher than you are. There's 1,000 more square footage. He's remodeled his entire kitchen, and his master bedroom bathroom is the Mac Daddy of master bedroom bathrooms. That's why. But instead of fighting, it's like, no. Let's analyze. Let's talk Greek. Let's analyze what we're doing. Let's figure out where we are. And then let's somehow figure out how we can communicate with both, how we can cut a deal. We need to cut a deal. We need to get the French person to talk to the Greek person, and we're the intermediaries. That's our job. But so often, when you know pricing and you know it very well, you will fight on your price. And I'm right, and not understanding more of why are they where they're at and what do they need. And once they understand that you hear them and you understand where they're coming from or why they think a house is where it is, then we can talk Greek and we can arrive at the correct solution to that. For builders, it's just a matter of you can't pay that much for a lot next time. We got to be very thoughtful on what we pay for lots. So now the builders call us before they want to buy a lot and say, "What can I put on this? What can I sell on this?" And I'm like, the maximum size you can get on that is 4,500. That sells for $2.5 million. 40% of that is that you can pay $925,000 for that lot. Don't you go paying $1.1 million. You pay $1.1 million, then you're telling me to sell it for 2.8, and you can't get a 2.8. It's 2.5. So let's work our way back. But again, you never could have understood that unless you listened to them and what their problems are, and what their thoughts are. So that's just kind of a, what's happened this week kind of stuff. Let's look at, we work in a lot of different towns. So if you're in your town, it's very simple. Let's say I've got 2 listing appointments today, and you got to go in and say, all right, you've got 10 houses on the market and 7 are under contract. You're in a seller's market. This is a whole different than if my contract at 5 o'clock, there's 10 houses on the market and 2 are under contract. It's a whole different ballgame. So really you can look at these stats for towns or sizes or anything, but you really got to analyze each listing by itself and each market by itself. So between 1.3 and 1.5 within 1 mile radius, what is that market? It's all different than the 850 on the other side of town. Everybody got? Okay, so as far as the market update is concerned, we are up over 24 stunk. We are not spiking. We are going back to normal. We are still lower than we were on the 5-year average as far as inventory, but thank God inventory is coming back. For all of the realtors and the buyers, that's a great thing. For sellers, understand, inventory is coming back. If you're going to sell, let's get it on the market right now. I don't know how much it's going to spike. I don't know how much inventory is coming. We're watching it. But right now is a perfect time for sellers to get out on top. When I said we look at 3 things, the first thing is inventory. The second thing is what's under contract. And the third thing we do quarterly, which is extremely important, is we price them. So a 3,500 square foot house went like this, went like this, went like this. Where is it in the cycle? So those are the 3 things we do. I don't do pricing except every quarter, so I'll do it at the end of March. But those are the 3 things that tell us where our market is, where we're headed, where we're going. All right? Now, what I'd like to discuss now is I like to say that companies don't sell houses, realtors sell houses. Samson Properties may be number 1. That's not going to help Daliera sell that house. Not going to help me sell a house. Samson Properties didn't get me to $2.8 million this year, $208 million this year. Isn't that a cocky, stupid thing to say? Of course they did. Of course they had something to do with it. Of course, when I broke down our listing appointments, like, damn, they are actually a brokerage. The brokerage is in every listing appointment I do. I'm going to give you 5 things that I use in a listing appointment that helps, that actually leverages the company and helps me out. First thing, the most important thing is money. Anybody wants money. You want more for your house, you want more money in your pocket, you want more money. How does Samson help us with that? Well, if an agent comes in from Compass, they have to pay back a loan to Compass, which means they take some of their commission and they have to give that money to the corporation. Is the corporation going to help you sell your house? Nope. What are they going to give you, a pricing model? Now, so money, I'm talking $4,000, $3,000, $5,000 of the money you're going to pay me, I have to give to them. But at Samson Properties, really, I don't have to pay anything to them. I keep all of that for my goods and services, which means I don't have to pass along that extra money to the seller. I don't have to charge higher commissions. I don't have, and if people do charge higher commissions, they have more money to spend on your listing, more money on goods and services. So does Samson Properties go to a listing appointment with me? Actually, by not charging me commission, I don't have to charge you commission, and that's one of the best things about it. I save you money right out of the gate. So, are they Samson Properties? Donnie's sitting next to me? Yep. Yeah, he is. The next thing is the corporate culture. Now, sitting in this room is a person that did, I don't know, sold 100 houses. And she is by far the rock star at Samson Properties, right? She's sitting in here listening to what we're talking about. She's taking her busy schedule, and a lot of agents are in here. A corporate culture in real estate, a lot of times, is one of like this, because we're all hired guns, right? Oh, thanks, Justin. We're all hired guns. You know, we compete against each other. I could be going up against you in a listing presentation. So when you are at a big company, and I was at one, everybody is like this, right? That's a corporate culture. There's not a lot of sharing going on. Well, for God's sakes, at our place, education is what it's all about. Dustin Fox came in to our company. He had a big successful team. First thing he did, give a big seminar to everybody on how he does YouTubes. First time. People give classes on pricing. We give classes on pricing. We communicate. We have a mastermind meeting. Daliera's there. I'm there. All these people are there. 60 people are in a room. They all do 40, 60, 80, $100 million of business. And they're all communicating back and forth with how's the market doing? What's the best technology? Anybody have this? Anybody have that? How do you do this? How do you do that? I have a problem. Then we work through the problem. Well, that information that I get from Daliera or from, they sit in the meeting with me. When I go, I'm talking about the education I get from them. I'm using it this listing presentation. The next thing that we have is when we have 6,000 agents at Samson Properties, family business is not just a word. That's what it is. I mean, a Samson agent would kill themselves to try and sell a Samson listing. I get it all the time. I'm a Samson agent. I'm really interested. They lead with, I'm a Samson agent, because they know I'm going to treat them different than I'm going to treat everybody else. Still got to bring in the same amount of money. Still got to win the contract. But I'm going to help you try and get this contract. Why? Because it literally is 6,000 people in a family unit. We're not fighting each other. We're not arguing. We share ideas, share information, help each other. We try and sell their listings. And in fact, when I go in and my agents go into a Samson property listing, there may be 8 listings in there, or 8 contracts. The agents bend over backwards to try and help us get the contract. That is a corporate culture, right? The masterminds and seminars is amazing what we learn, and that information sits right next to us when we're at a listing presentation. The services that we have here. So I can't go in and give a half-hour seminar on pricing, but I can come to Donnelly Studios at Samson headquarters, and I can give a full seminar, not just for the agents, but for the sellers. So I'm like, look, I'm going to go to a listing presentation. We only have so much time. If you want more information on pricing, look at Justin's video that I've done on pricing. Look at what it is on how you prepare a home. This is a contract video. So all these videos are amazing. Dustin coming in showing everybody how to do the YouTube stuff. You know, that's communication that Samson Properties. So really, they did get educated on my stuff by using the Donnelly Studios tapes of what we did here. So actually, Samson Properties did help me with that, right? If you're going to list a house, we're sending out hundreds and hundreds of open houses to renters, all the renters thing. Well, does that help the seller? Hell yeah, it helps the seller. It's free. We send out cards and brochures and all we got to do is pick up the thing and slide it on over to Samson Properties. So when we talk about goods and services, the brochures on your table are produced by Samson Printing. Another Donnelly in the back is banging out the printing, right? Why don't we call it Donnelly Properties? Hopefully there's not a takeover anytime soon, all right? But the printing also helps. So the communications that we have of our properties and, you know, how everybody hears about it. When I list a house, again, I say the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run your title. We're going to make sure there's not an unrecorded lien that when you bought it in 1992 wasn't released. We want to make sure that doesn't catch us. Because I will tell you, it did catch us, and it blew up a deal, and it postponed the deal for 6 months, and the buyer left, and we had the buyer. Trust me, we get a pre-listing title report run on every listing we do. Again, more protection for the seller provided by Samson Properties. So again, all of this is, and some people may walk into a seller and not use any of these tools, but the tools are there, right? If you have the tools to know how to use them. So the other thing is the marketing people here really are phenomenal. They're not just goofy looking flyers. I mean, they're very professional at what they do. So they do the templates and all the agents can go in. So your house is put on a beautiful template and sent out open house flyers for free to all these renters that are in your neighborhood to come by and see your house. That's another benefit that Samson, that we can offer to the sellers that Samson does bring. The support for us of having runners do it, having 30 brokers. Let's say something goes wrong. Samson Properties has 30 brokers. If I can't get the top 10, I'll get the number 11. And because if there's a problem, we need a solution. And there's going to be some problems. You need a solution, and you need it right now. And you need a broker, or you need an attorney, or you need something there, that support group that if you need it, they're there. That's called support. If we need it, you got 30 brokers standing behind me. You got all this technology that they have, and you got runners that can take things out. Well, why is that important to me? Well, if they're doing all the running and I don't have to do it, then I can start working on selling your house. That's my job. My job's not to be a runner. My job's not to do all the admin work. My job's to sell your house. I'm a paid salesperson. So does that help? Yes, it does. To have an attorney on staff helps a lot. Do we need them? Hopefully not. It's good to have them when you do. One, you know, there's people that back out of deals. There's $100,000 sitting in an escrow account. What are we going to do? This is a problem. Mike Briggs runs into it every day. He's got, you know, all of the stuff he deals with. To have somebody with that much experience where you pick up the phone and you call Mike if there's a problem, does that help the seller? Hell yeah, it helps the seller. Helps me and the seller, right? So all of these, and the final one that I will say is this. There's a reason why, number one, the money part is working, is because number 5 is the settlement and title business, right? I'm a professional. I wouldn't let a painter in the house. I wouldn't let anybody in that house unless they were a professional, and they did a great job. I would not send to a lender that doesn't do a professional great job. You know, I don't send my people to anybody unless they're professionals. And I'll be honest with you, 10 years ago, maybe it was like, I don't know, Cardinal Title. But I will tell you in the last 10 years, Cardinal Title is a monster. Cardinal Title has become such a professional, sound settlement because the way I look at settlements, that's the grand finale. This is it. This is where we take a lap around the room, we get high fives, we got $150,000 over list price, we got no contingencies. We had no home inspection. It's a party when you go to one of our settlements. It should be a party because this is basically going to be the last time pretty much you're going to see this client. And this client needs to leave with a great taste in their mouth that they were treated right from the first second you sat in their house all the way to when they walk out the settlement door. So why does Cardinal Title make this work is because they're so good that we can trust them to do our thing so that Donnie doesn't have to take my commission and I can pass that on to the seller. And that's how the cycle works. So the thought of, you have to have an ego to be in this business. If you don't have an ego, you're not going to survive. If you can't have somebody tell you no, 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 and come back for the fourth time, and you're done. If you can't negotiate hard with people, you're done. You need an ego in order to get through this whole thing. So yes, I would say, brokers don't sell houses, realtors sell houses. But in fact, if you have a good, strong broker that can bring assets to the table, and finally I realized, it really is a lot of stuff that Samson provides to us that I don't think we say thank you enough or we notice it enough, but I'll tell you it's there and it's powerful. So if you're not using, I realize that at the listing presentations, and I've got 2 of them today, I will use money, the corporate culture. Somebody's going to come in and sell your house from Samson because we got 6,000 agents. We have a network before it even hits the market that it's going to be seen by. You've got services. You can see all my videos if you want to. That's the Samson stuff. I got email or cards we're going to send out to all the renters. That's all Samson. So there really is a lot that goes to these listing presentations, and I don't think I emphasize enough to the sellers because I like them to think you don't need a Compass or a Keller Williams or a Samson Properties. It's the agent that you're dealing with, but it's the tools the company provides that agent. And I look at some of the other tools, and I think they're just laughable. I think we have the tools, and I think sellers need to know that. My name is Casey Samson. You've been listening to Coffee with Casey. We come to you every Thursday. Right now, we're broadcasting on YouTube at 2:30 every Thursday afternoon, unless I'm out and sharpening up my golf game in Florida somewhere. But we'll see you again next week. If you have any questions, you can give me a call, 703-508-2535 or Casey@CaseySamson.com. See you again next week. Bye now.